The applause was deafening, a tidal wave of sound crashing over me as I stood under the blinding lights of the auditorium. My name shone in bold letters on the massive screen behind me, accompanied by the words, "Innovator of the Year." The polished glass trophy I held in my hands sparkled under the glow of the stage, its curves catching the light like a prism. It felt heavier than it should have, its smooth surface cold and unyielding. "This award," the presenter had said moments earlier, "symbolizes the pinnacle of human ingenuity and achievement. It is a testament to unparalleled brilliance." As I looked out over the sea of smiling faces, I should have felt triumphant. Instead, there was an odd weight in my chest, a faint whisper of unease I couldn't quite place. The room smelled faintly of roses and something metallic, sharp and fleeting, like a blade slicing through the air. I brushed the feeling aside, clutching the trophy tighter. This was my moment. After the ceremony, a cocktail reception buzzed with energy. Well-dressed men and women approached me, their compliments flowing like champagne. They spoke in glowing terms about my invention, an AI-driven diagnostic tool that promised to revolutionize medicine. "You've saved lives already," one man said, his voice rich with admiration. "Imagine what you'll do next." I nodded graciously, though the compliment felt hollow. My mind kept wandering to the stranger standing at the edge of the room, his gaze locked onto me. His suit was outdated, his tie slightly askew, and there was a peculiar intensity in his eyes. "Congratulations," he said when our paths finally crossed. His voice was low, steady, and too calm for the celebratory atmosphere. "I assume you know the cost." I blinked, unsure if I'd heard him correctly. "Excuse me?" "The cost," he repeated, gesturing toward the trophy. "They never tell you up front, do they? It's a cruel trick, really." I forced a laugh, expecting him to smile, but his face remained solemn. "I'm not sure what you mean." "You will," he said, his lips curling into a faint smile that never reached his eyes. Then, without another word, he disappeared into the crowd, leaving behind a chill that settled into my bones. That night, back in my apartment, I placed the trophy on the mantel. Its glass surface caught the glow of the city lights streaming through the window, refracting them into eerie, fractured patterns on the wall. The words engraved on the base seemed to shimmer unnaturally. "Excellence above all." As I turned away, I thought I heard a faint hum, a soft vibration that made my chest tighten. When I glanced back, the trophy was silent, still and gleaming. Success was intoxicating, and the weeks that followed were a blur of accolades and opportunities. Interviews flooded in, each journalist eager to uncover the secrets of my innovation. My calendar was packed with conferences and speaking engagements, invitations from institutions I had only dreamed of entering. But alongside the praise came an undercurrent of oddities. It started small, a sudden chill in my office that no thermostat adjustment could fix, the flicker of my computer screen despite no technical issues. My emails began to glitch, messages vanishing before I could send them. My assistant assured me it was just a technical hiccup, but the unease gnawed at me. At night, the trophy seemed to draw my attention no matter where I was in the room. It caught the light in strange ways, bending and distorting reflections into shapes that didn't make sense. Once I swore I saw something move across its surface, a flicker of shadow that disappeared when I blinked. "You're overworking yourself," my best friend, Elena, said during one of our rare lunches. "You've been on edge ever since the award." "I'm fine," I said quickly, too quickly. The truth was, I hadn't slept well in days. My dreams were fragmented and disjointed, filled with half-formed images of faces I didn't recognize and places I'd never been. Each time I woke, I felt as if I had left something behind. One evening, as I prepared for bed, My phone buzzed with an alert, an email notification. The subject line read, "The cost of success." There was no sender, no body text, just those words. My heart raced as I stared at the screen, my mind conjuring the stranger from the gala. Who had sent this? Was it him? The next day, during a routine team meeting, the power in the building cut out. For nearly a minute, the room was plunged into darkness. When the lights returned, everyone shrugged it off as a minor outage. Everyone except me. My laptop's screensaver had changed, an image of the trophy glowing faintly, its base inscribed with a word I couldn't read, but that sent a shiver down my spine. That night, I couldn't ignore the vibrations anymore. They hummed through the floor, through the walls, emanating from the direction of the trophy. I approached it cautiously, the room colder with every step. My reflection in the glass looked wrong, distorted, stretched, and almost alive. Then came the whispers, soft at first, like the rustling of leaves, but growing louder. Words I couldn't understand filled the air, their tones urgent, pleading, angry. My hands trembled as I backed away, but the whispers followed, curling around me like smoke. I clutched my chest, feeling the weight of the trophy's presence pressing into my lungs. Whatever this was, it wasn't my imagination. It was real, and it wasn't going to stop. By morning, I knew one thing for certain. I needed to find the stranger again. If anyone had answers, it was him. The stranger wasn't easy to find. Days turned into weeks as I combed through the guest list from the awards gala, the names blurring together in my mind. He wasn't listed anywhere. No trace of him in photos, no one who remembered speaking to him. It was as if he hadn't existed, a phantom haunting the edges of my life. But I wasn't the only one noticing oddities. Elena called one evening, her voice heavy with concern. "Something's going on with you," she said. "You've missed 3 deadlines, and when we met last week, you seemed distant." I didn't know how to tell her the truth. How could I explain the whispers that filled my home at night? The way my reflection in the trophy seemed to ripple, as if submerged in water. Instead, I lied. "I'm just stressed. It'll pass." She didn't sound convinced, but she let it go. I envied her ability to live in a world where stress could be so easily explained. One night, desperate for answers, I returned to the auditorium where the gala had been held. It was empty now, the seats covered in dust, and the stage shrouded in darkness. I stood where I had once accepted the award, clutching the trophy in my hands. "Why me?" I whispered, my voice echoing in the vast space. "What did I do to deserve this?" The air grew colder, a sudden draft brushing past me like a breath. For a moment, I thought I heard laughter, soft, distant, and mocking. I turned sharply, but the room was empty. Then I saw it, a faint glow on the far wall, barely visible in the dim light. I approached cautiously, the trophy heavy in my grip. The glow resolved into a symbol etched into the wood, a spiral surrounded by jagged lines, pulsating faintly. My fingers grazed its surface, and an electric jolt shot through me. Visions exploded in my mind, flickering images of people, different faces, all holding the same trophy. Their expressions shifted from joy to confusion, then to despair. The visions were fragmented, as if seen through a broken mirror. But one thing was clear. I wasn't the first. When the images faded, I found myself on the floor, the trophy lying a few feet away. My head throbbed, and the symbol on the wall was gone. That was when I realized the truth. The trophy wasn't just an award. It was a vessel, a trap. Its allure drew people in, promising greatness while hiding a curse older than anyone could imagine. The library was silent, except for the occasional rustle of pages, as I searched for answers. My research had led me to an obscure occult section, filled with books that looked as though they hadn't been touched in decades. Dust motes danced in the dim light as I flipped through brittle pages, the words cryptic and unsettling. The same spiral symbol appeared again and again, paired with terms like binding, sacrifice, and tribute. It wasn't just a symbol, it was a seal, created to tether something ancient to the physical world. The trophy was its anchor, and its power grew with each person it ensnared. Buried in one book was a passage that chilled me to my core. The only way to sever the bond is to confront the keeper, but beware, what it grants, it will fight to keep. The keeper, the stranger from the gala. He hadn't warned me out of kindness. He was part of this, a gatekeeper ensuring the cycle continued. As I left the library, the whispers grew louder, their urgency palpable. They followed me home, weaving around my thoughts like tendrils of smoke. The trophy pulsed faintly on the mantle, its glow more pronounced now. It felt alive, almost sentient, and I couldn't shake the sensation that it was watching me. The ritual to break the curse required 3 things: the trophy, a mirror, and a place of absolute stillness. It warned of a confrontation, though the details were vague. I chose my apartment, turning off every light and drawing the curtains until the room was cloaked in darkness. The mirror sat before me, its surface reflecting my pale, tired face. The trophy rested beside it, its glow casting faint, dancing shadows on the walls. I took a deep breath and began to recite the words I'd found in the book, each syllable heavy with dread. At first, nothing happened. Then, the whispers rose in volume, a chorus of voices swirling around me. The room seemed to warp, the shadows stretching and twisting unnaturally. The mirror's surface rippled like water, and a figure began to take shape. It was the stranger. His features were sharper now, his eyes gleaming with an unnatural light. "You shouldn't have done this," he said, his voice calm but laced with menace. "Do you think you can break what has bound so many before you?" "I have to," I said, my voice trembling. "This curse, this thing, it has to end." He smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. "You don't understand. The curse isn't a punishment. It's a gift. It amplifies your success, your ambition. But every gift comes with a cost. I didn't ask for this. Didn't you?" His voice was a whisper now, curling around me like smoke. "When you held that trophy, when you dreamed of greatness, you invited it in. All it did was answer." The mirror's surface began to crack, spiderweb fractures spreading outward. The whispers turned to a roar, and the stranger's image wavered. I clutched the trophy tightly, feeling its cold weight against my skin. "You can still walk away," he said. "Keep the success, keep the power. All it asks is that you let it remain." I hesitated, the allure of his words pulling at me. But then I thought of the faces in the vision, of the despair that had consumed them. "No," I said, my voice firm. "I won't be part of this." The mirror shattered with a deafening crack, the fragments catching the faint glow of the trophy. The stranger's image dissolved, replaced by a swirling void. The whispers faded into silence, and the room stilled. I sat there for a long time, clutching the trophy as tears streamed down my face. The confrontation was over, but I knew the final battle still lay ahead. Whatever had created the curse wasn't finished with me yet. The silence in the room was suffocating, the kind that wasn't just an absence of sound, but a presence in itself, a heavy, palpable void pressing down on me. The mirror lay in shards around my feet, each fragment glinting faintly with the light from the trophy. Its glow had dimmed now, a faint pulse that seemed to echo in time with my own heartbeat. But I knew it wasn't over. The air shifted, a cold breeze snaking through the room despite the sealed windows. The shadows on the walls stretched unnaturally, twisting into forms that hinted at movement, but never quite solidified. My breath came shallow and quick as the whispers returned, not as voices this time, but as a low, rhythmic hum that seemed to vibrate through the very foundation of the apartment. I stared at the trophy, its once pristine surface now marred by hairline cracks that spidered across the glass. The cracks pulsed faintly, as though the object itself was alive, struggling to maintain its hold on reality. The words engraved on its base, "Excellence above all," had shifted. Now, they shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, spelling something I couldn't read but could feel. The weight of its meaning pressed against my mind, alien and incomprehensible. From the corner of my eye, I caught movement. Turning sharply, I saw the shadows coalescing near the far wall, forming a shape that was almost human, but too fluid, too dark to be real. The figure stepped forward, its outline flickering like a candle flame. "You've broken the seal," it said, its voice a chorus of tones, male, female, young, old, all blending into a single, haunting melody. But breaking is not enough. The weight must be borne. I backed away, clutching the trophy tighter. "What are you?" I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. "We are the echoes," the figure replied. The aspirations of those who sought greatness without care for the cost, bound to the prize they desired most. And now, so are you. "No," my voice trembled but rose defiantly. "I've seen what it does. I won't let it take me." The figure tilted its head, a gesture both curious and disconcerting. "You misunderstand. The bond cannot be severed, but it can be passed." Passed. The word hit me like a physical blow. Images flashed in my mind, of the gala, the stranger's cryptic warning, the visions of past recipients. The cycle wasn't just perpetuated by the curse, it was handed down willingly, each person choosing to escape their fate by condemning someone else. "That's what he did," I whispered, the truth sinking in. "The stranger, he gave it to me." The figure didn't respond, but its silence was answer enough. The hum grew louder, resonating through the room and deep into my chest. I could feel the weight of the decision bearing down on me, crushing, suffocating. The trophy pulsed faintly in my hands, its cracks widening as if urging me to make a choice. But the choice wasn't truly mine, not if I refused to play its game. "No," I said aloud, my voice steady now. "I won't do it. I won't pass this on." The figure's form flickered, its edges blurring as the hum rose to a crescendo. "Then you will carry it," it said, its voice tinged with something like approval. Or was it pity? "And you will know the weight of what you sought." The room seemed to implode, the air collapsing inward as darkness swallowed everything. For a moment I felt nothing, no sound, no sight, no weight, just an endless void. When the light returned, I was alone. The trophy still sat on the mantel, but it was different now. Its glow was gone, replaced by a dull, fractured surface that looked as though it might crumble at any moment. The cracks had deepened, but they no longer pulsed. The words on the base had returned to their original form, excellence above all. I stared at it for a long time, waiting for the whispers, the hum, the flicker of shadows. But the apartment was still, too still. Days passed, then weeks, and nothing happened. The whispers didn't return. The shadows stayed where they belonged. But I could feel it, the weight. It wasn't just in the trophy, it was in me. A constant gnawing presence that sapped my energy, my focus, my joy. Success came easily still, too easily, as if the world itself conspired to keep me at the top. But it felt hollow now, like a meal eaten without hunger. People noticed. Elena asked why I seemed distant, why I no longer celebrated my achievements. I told her I was tired. That was true enough. And then, one evening, I noticed the faintest glow returning to the trophy. A pulse, so weak it was barely perceptible. But it was there, waiting. The weight will grow heavier, I realized. One day, it will be too much. And when that day comes, I will face the same choice again, to bear it or to pass it on. I sat in the dim light of my apartment, staring at the fractured glass, the glow slowly strengthening. And I understood why so many had failed.